welcome to Five Guys Movies and Fries. We are five guys who like watching movies and discussing them, and so we end up watching movies and discussing them.
Yeah, we do.
We have wrapped up our run of movies adapted from plays, and we ended it with 1996's The Birdcage. Robin Williams, Nathan Lane, Gene Hackman, Dianne Weist. I've probably seen her name a million times. I hope I'm getting that right. It's 20-year-old Val comes home to his father's, or comes to his father's South Florida drag club to reveal that he's getting married to Barbara. Great movie, but I will pass it on to initial thoughts, starting with Joe.
Yeah, I love this movie a lot. And I also want to mention just that it's directed by Mike Nichols, he's a great director, directed The Graduate, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. And it's written by Elaine May. And if you don't know, Elaine May and Mike Nichols were like a huge comedy team in the 50s and 60s. And then they never worked on movies together. And this is the first time they worked on something.
Huh.
And also it's based on the play called Cage Aux Folles, which means the Cage of the Crazy Women, I think, when they changed it to the Birdcage. And I did watch that movie from the 70s, Cage Aux Folles, and I'll talk about how it's different and how it's similar later as well. But as I said before, I love this movie. It's really great. Robin Williams as Armand works. He serves mother. Nathan Lane ate. He brought the Meryl Streep realness. Gene Hackman was totally busted. There's no realness there. No shade to Gene Hackman. What's that?
Oh, I was just laughing. That's funny as hell.
I was tearing up when Albert almost sashayed away from the family in the third act. I was gagged. I was stunned. But when everyone came together as a house, it was so fierce. It was sickening. Even busted old Gene Hackman was serving at the end. He was resting on pretty, a sassy diva. Congratulations to everyone who made this movie. It's fantastic. And I can translate that if you guys don't speak drag. It's just a super great movie. The opening shot is one of my favorite opening shots. Probably good. Second behind Boogie Nights. It's so colorful and it just goes it just zooms in on that colorful strip, and it's so beautiful.
Agreed. It is. I love the speed that camera's rolling through the aerial shot. I think
they did it with a helicopter. I mean, I don't know how else they would have, but yeah.
Oh, they did not. Well, I'll talk about actually.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Whenever it gets to me.
Well, no, if you want to correct me on that right now.
If you throw it in, since we're talking about it.
No, it's not necessarily a correction. It's just so. The one thing I take that back. We can cut that right. One of the things that I enjoyed a lot about this film was early Lubeski, the cinematographer on this film. So one of the things that I try not to do is do any research on the films that we watch for the podcast. I just like to watch them blind. And I was very familiar with this film, and I owned a copy, and I have since I was a child. What I did not know was that Lubeski shot this, and oh my goodness, do you see it? Every take. Are you guys familiar with Children of Men?
Right? Oh yeah,
yes, yeah, we are.
We watched it for this podcast. Yeah.
That was one of the first movies we did.
Yep. Yeah. For the record of mine, I love that movie.
Yeah, and it is very clear to you guys and the audience that I've listened to every episode. I was just testing you. But Children of Men is an absolute masterpiece because of the direction and the camera work, right? These long swoops and all of these things that almost feel like one take, and a lot of them are one take, and they're absolutely masterful, right? The car scene, Julianne.
Oh my God.
Moore going back and forth with Clive Owen. They're spitting the ping pong ball, right? It's all one take. They're moving in the car. That is Lubeski in a nutshell, right? Then we see it again, and we see him pair up again with Karan for Birdman, right? The whole thing is literally shot and designed to feel like one take. We see him practicing that so many times in this film. And I don't know how much Mike Nichols was like, yeah, man, we get it. You want to do long takes. I need cut points. You know, like I could almost, and I have no idea. He might have loved it, hated it. I would love to hear the conversation between those two. But Lubeski's work in this was heavy-handed, and it's a good thing. I will say that I thought the scene with Nathan
Lane.
Thank you. Nathan Lane sitting right after he I was about to say right after he gets really upset and storms away, which happens about 19 times in the film. But it is when he goes out and sits alone on the bench, and behind him is like the Freightliner. Oh,
Gorgeous.
chef's kiss. The
gorgeous.
timing, it just reeks of Lubeski. I can see him back there, like standing in front of Mike Nichols. Like, no, shut the fuck up, Mike. Okay, bring in the fucking Freightliner. Great, we got the extras here. Play with your kid. And it was just this perfect timing of like, and I don't mean like he was shitting on the director. I just mean that whole scene depended on the timing of that fucking freight liner behind them, and then pulling out really, really slow with a lot of fall off early, and then stopping down during the shot. So we reveal like the ship and the people that are like doing things behind him, and just this grandiose scene. It could have been Lubeski's business card.
So do you have more details about that opening shot?
So that opening shot was done at a combination of Steadicam and what's called a space cam, which would have been a very early version of a drone, which was essentially a lot of it was done with steady cams and using doorways as cut points as to where it would start with what like a very old, big, heavy drone that could float around and get some of those shots. Like the sweeps, some were helicopter, but the helicopter isn't going to blend with the steady cam, which is why I would assume they didn't use it as much.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, they can also put that onto an arm, like a crane. And then that you actually see in the beginning. And one thing that drove me nuts, but not as nuts as it probably drove Lubeski, is if you watch that opening scene,
The transition?
you see him set the pedestal down in the shot because of the camera wiggle, and there was nothing they could do about it. I'm sure they were on like take 80 rolling on film, and they were like, if you get it, you get it. But right when they come down off that big sweeping grand shot and they're about to go in to the club, and it's like right before that weird music change that I was not a fan of, where it like faded into something else.
Just
we were
like
supposed to hear.
it's a diegetic music on the street, I think.
Right, which I was like, okay, like, yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that choice. But just before that is when we see this camera come sweeping down and we see it touch the ground. And we watch the whole frame wiggle from that pedestal sitting down, and that's when he jumps off, and then we start the Steadicam sequence. But yeah, that's early Lubeski before gimbals were invented or really, popularized. And 88 was Goodfellas, which was, in my opinion, the best use of the Steadicam up until at that point. And so that you got to think that was just 5-6 years before this was done.
Goodfellas was in 1988.
Yeah, 92 is when it came out, but production was probably in around between 89 and 90, and then yeah. Actually, did it come out in 90?
Yeah.
Okay, it was 90. So yeah, they shot it 88 and 89. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So released in right. So that was like, in my opinion, the strongest use of Steadicam outside of obviously Rocky, which is what it was invented for.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of confused. Do you like the shot?
I do.
Okay.
I like a lot of the shots. In fact, that's what I was raving about. Was I loved that the Freightliner scene, and the opening shot was amazing. They were working with what they had, and they did great. And I thought it looked fantastic, and it made you feel immersed. I didn't like the sound design piece of the shot, but yeah.
Sure, yeah. Gotcha.
I did like the rest. And that little wiggle, there's nothing you can do about that at all. That's just part of shooting on film. You can't retake the whole thing,
Yeah, I've seen this movie a couple times, and I had never noticed that.
And you shouldn't, because you're not a cynical asshole like I am.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. Anyway.
Joe, did you go through your thoughts? Yeah.
Not quite. I got a little more. Obviously, this movie is still relevant today. I think that the conversation between Albert in drag talking to Keely, you know, how they bond together over dinner, is just hysterical.
That's great.
Because Albert is mocking him to his face. He's being so over the top. Let's kill the mothers and stuff like that. And he's making fun of him to his face, and he just buys it and he bonds with her. It's so funny. I'm sure we'll talk about this, but we all agree that Val is the real villain of this movie, right? He's such a little twerp.
Pretty unlikable.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Like, he is so necessary for the plot to move in the direction. Like, he has to put his parents in this situation. He has to give them the ultimatum. You have to pretend to be straight for one night for this movie to have this crazy situation. But he's such a twerp about it.
Well, he's unlikable as fuck, and he's the protagonist, unfortunately. Like,
Is he the protagonist? I'd say
Yeah.
Armand. Maybe it is Val.
No, you guys are all wrong. The protagonist is Keely, and the bad guys are the press.
Oh my god!
I want this movie from his perspective. Yeah, that's what.
Yeah. See?
But yeah, go on. Because we all don't even know who the protagonist is.
I mean, his parents are like on the verge of splitting up. His dad is punched out at a bar. His dad gets hate crimed, and he's still like, "We're gonna do this thing tonight. You have to pretend." And what's the point of even doing it for one night? Like,
yeah, for real.
I agree.
They're never going to see each other again.
It's part of the reason why I didn't. Yeah.
It's a stupid premise. I'll give you that, but it's such a good movie. The premise is necessary for this farcical situation.
Yep.
Sure.
That's why I like it. Okay, Ort, spill the tea. What do you got?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I had never seen this movie before. Yeah, I had never seen this movie before. And I love it. It's awesome. Like you talked about, long flying shot. A lot of good cinematography in this movie. I really like the palette that was used throughout the movie. Like, it just had a lot of like eye-popping, like really colorful, just scenes in general. But like, especially like the costume design. Holy shit! Like,
Yeah, although it takes a glance, it looks like a South Florida drag club. Period.
Yeah.
Like it pops. Everything pops on screen.
It was immaculate.
yeah,
The set
it's
design.
great.
Yeah, the colors, I agree. The palette was fucking amazing.
Whoever they had doing all that kind of stuff did a great job.
Skin everywhere. There's skin all over this movie.
Oh yeah, a lot of neck.
Yeah, man, Nathan, he kills it in this movie. Like, I mean, they all do, right? Like Robin Williams and Nathan, they both just crush it. But holy,
I mean,
shit.
that's the drive. That's the drive of this movie for me, is just the performances we get from those two alone.
For real.
Just chewing the scenery every time they're on screen.
Every time, dude. Like, they're both such phenomenal actors, and it comes out so much in this movie. And they triple threat it too. Like, they both dance, they both act, they both sing. Like, throughout the movie, it's unbelievable.
Meryl Streep, realness.
I don't know, man. Yeah. It's just, and this movie's fucking hilarious. Like, it has. I straight up wrote down like 4 different quotes because they were so fucking fun. They were just like one-liner jokes almost. It was fucking hilarious. Like, it's like riding a psychotic horse towards a burning stable. I love that shit, man. That's great. Yeah, I liked the drama that they created with like the senator dying and all of that too. It maybe was like a little forced feeling, but I felt like it did create some pretty good drama in the middle of the movie. Oh, I did want to talk about, so did you guys notice, how did you guys feel when the son first comes in? Because I really did for a second there think that like that was his like young gay lover, because the way that he kind of like caressed his neck and stuff, that's what it looked like at first. Did
That
anybody
was
What
the
they
else?
were going
idea.
for,
It was
yeah.
supposed to be that Mr.
Oh, I bought it. I bought it the first time I saw it.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
I thought okay, because I was like, ooh, like I didn't feel great about that afterwards. I was like, oh, is that
I mean, he's also sneaking away from the stage. There's so many hints that lean towards that. It throws you off when you're like, oh, he's his 20-year-old son. Fuck.
It's like, okay, like this is kind of weird. But then like, yeah, they explained it away pretty quickly. I also loved how when they all had their first bite of the soup, they like reached for the bread immediately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was just really just a good old time. It was just fun.
Yeah.
What do you got, Dan?
Well, this was an interesting journey for me. My first introduction to this film was buying it as a gift for my mom because I saw it at Target and I wanted to watch it. And so I thought, perfect. Let me just pick this up for my mom. It was rated R, and it was one of the Robin Williams films that I couldn't watch. So I convinced my dad, like, yeah, this is a gift. It's, he was like, great, all right. So I bought it and watched it, had no idea what was going on, gave it to my mom, didn't really think about it again. Watching it today, mind-blowing to see Hank Azaria doing his Simpsons sort of stereotypical gay voice, and then putting like his human face to that in a real character. I was like, oh my, it was a surreal moment for me. I did not know that he was so physically fit.
He's cut like a diamond in this fucking movie.
I-
His area is fucking cut like a
It was
wedding
like-
ring, dude.
It's like watching Mo Sislak dance to Gloria Estefan in a leopard print thong. It was a surreal moment to me. But yeah, also Robin Williams, strikingly handsome. Just
shit.
like, man, like you can't make that guy look bad. But yeah, I loved a lot of the cinematography. Like you guys were saying, that early Lubeski was just amazing. I was not a huge fan of the very 90s feel of some of it, and a huge fan of the 90s feel of other aspects of it. I think it was at a time when being gay was such a full-time like sport that you just had to just like that. It was weird to not see any middle, like somebody who may be attracted to his or her own sex but not dancing in a club as a performer. You know what I mean? It was like that was sort of the only version of gay that I think a lot of people at that time understood. Was like, yeah, it's like you're incredibly flamboyant like all the time, and I don't know, it was just an odd. I really thought, I wonder what this was like in 1996. You know what I mean? Like audiences taking that in for the first time, like in different parts of the world. If it was like watching it now, how probably people wouldn't really bat an eye, you know?
It's based on a play from the 70s, and the characters are pretty much the same in that movie
Right.
about the play.
It's just weird, like how different.
And I will say, Armand, his character George in the original play is the same. They're sort of less. He's less flamboyant than Albert.
Yes, he is. He's
or
definitely the
Alvin.
contrast to them as the couple. Yeah,
So they're-
for sure. And that's not something I'm
Yeah.
against by any means. I was just saying, like, it was odd to see, like, it was like one universe versus the other, and it almost made it feel like normal versus this other world in a sense. I don't think that was intentional, but
There were criticisms of the movie when it came out because they were so incredibly flamboyant. But the director did go, hold on, I have like a quote here, Nichols. Our jokes were about divas, about the theater, and about the stars, and some critics respond as if they were gay people in general, that just as so. That's just what he said on record.
I missed a little bit of that. But yeah, again, this is not a criticism from me on a personal level. It was just something that I had noticed and was kind of thinking about throughout the duration. Like, if this were released today, would people have those same criticisms, or would it just kind of be,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Would it be even more so?
Oh, I think drag shows today are just as over the top.
Sure. Or maybe more so. I don't know. That was just something that I was thinking about. I was curious to get your guys' thoughts throughout, because this was 96. Like that's
There would be some differences for sure, but
I'm
I
sure that
can't
they
see any reason
could.
why they couldn't make this movie.
I'll say one year before
Yeah,
that, this was
right?
Tu Wong Fu.
That's a
Yeah.
really good
95 was
point.
Tu Wong Fu with,
And that's another
yeah,
one where
with
I watched that
Leguizamo
and it wasn't like this end all be all controversy. It was just like it happened. I'm sure it ruffled some feathers. And then people were like, yeah, it's a film. Like maybe you loved it, maybe you hated it, but you know what I mean? I guess my point is, like, I wonder if this were made today, if this would almost be canceled, in the sense that it wasn't the representation that some people felt like they deserved, etc. And yeah, I don't know. It was just an odd thing to see. Maybe not.
I don't think so. In my opinion, I don't. I really don't.
And again, I hope that it wouldn't be, but it was just something I thought.
No, I think it's still beloved. It's a beloved movie.
It was just a thought.
it's just a thought. Yeah.
Anyway, overall, I thought, yeah, some of the characters I absolutely loved. Some I thought were a little bit thin, and it really did feel to me like the son was the protagonist, and he wasn't very likable. It was, to me, I just wanted to be like the whole time, like, if you care about this girl, and this girl cares about her family, why would you base your entire relationship on this huge, elaborate lie to cover up something that you should and have seemingly accepted, at least on a surface level? I don't know. I just feel like if I was Nathan Lane's character, I'd have been like, these people are so fucking ashamed of me that, you know what I mean? Like, and who I am. And Robin Williams as well, that like they have to change everything about my being in order to be accepted by this senator. I don't know. Like if I in that position, if that were my kid, I'd just be like, yeah, I'd love to meet your fiance's family, and if they don't like our lifestyle, like fuck them. Like I don't know.
Well, maybe like deep down inside they love performance so much they see it as an opportunity for one night to like put on a play, and that's exactly what Armand says to Albert
Sure.
at one point in the movie.
Oh yeah,
Like he's going to direct him. Yeah.
I feel like we have to remember this is a comedy after.
true. Yeah, yeah. And to be fair, me and Knack being related, anytime we go somewhere in public, I make sure, like, hey, I need to hide who you are. I don't want people to understand, like, that we do share blood. Don't do that thing. No, no, just stay in the car. Just stay in the car. Yeah,
I just call him
yeah,
cuz.
it's fine.
As a
When we're in
friendly,
California, people are like, oh,
friendly
okay,
term.
what up, cuz? Oh, okay. Yeah, they don't. Yes, so I fully get that. It's just not something I'm proud of. My hatred of Mike is what I'm saying. Anyway, overall, yes, I did enjoy a lot of aspects of it and laughed, and I didn't cry, but there was definitely some heartstrings got tugged on, and it was thought provoking to say the least. So yeah,
Cool. Jeff?
Yeah, we've covered just about everything I had in the canon. The big standout to me every time I watch the performance, I kind of forget all of the other characters except Nathan Lane and Robin Williams' characters, just because they command that much screen presence in regards to everybody else. Like Gene Hackman, I hate to say it, but definitely forgettable in this movie for sure. Just the same as the son is, and not just because he's shitty.
Disagree.
You think so?
Disagree. I love Gene. I like Gene Hackman because he plays such a Republican, such a typical Republican dad guy. He's so hateable, but I think he does good
he was
at
right
this
for
role.
the part, but I don't
Agreed.
think he needed to do much.
I've met people exactly like that guy.
No, even his montage about foliage, the way it just goes on and on is really funny.
I agree. That was a great scene and great writing, and he did well in it. Yeah.
Yeah. Hank Azaria definitely pulls me out every time I see him. I can agree with that for sure. Hank Azaria is buck wild. No, I like this. I like it every time. I'm always happy to see Nathan. I like the sets. I like the set design a lot. I feel like this whole movie is just very eye-catching. The scenes with the main character. Yeah, that's it really.
Word. Yeah, no, it's good that you guys just pretty much lay everything out that needs to be said about this movie, that it deserves to be said about this movie.
I think it holds up well.
Oh,
Yeah.
most definitely.
Yeah.
It's as somebody who had never really seen it, it felt like a movie that could have just came out. Honestly, besides like some of the cinematography feel, it really did.
And if they did make this movie today, there would be some different choices. Like they probably wouldn't use the F slur, just to say one thing.
Yeah.
Like there's
Sure.
some things that would be changed for sure. But they could just make it, just change it a little bit,
I'm
retell
not
it,
suggesting
same
that they should
message.
change anything at
I
all.
think it
nor should
could
any
easily be done.
filmmaker change anything. I was just saying, I was curious
Yeah, I would.
when I was watching it about how a current climate would feel. And they may love it,
Mhm.
you know?
I feel like some people would potentially be kind of against it for some of those kind of reasons. Just with
Oh,
how
sure.
woke, quote unquote,
Sure.
some people can be these days.
Yeah.
Like,
And I'm really curious to know what you meant when you said it felt like it could have been made today, and then you said with some of the cinematography as an exception, meaning it looked like it was on film, or what did you mean by that?
I guess, yeah, maybe because it was on film. It has like that certain kind of graininess to it of like the 80s.
So it's just the
90s,
aesthetic of it,
maybe
like-
early 2000s.
For sure.
Yes, the aesthetic, exactly, yeah. But you can still capture that pretty well today, although I feel like I can always still tell like when a movie was made now,
Right,
but wants to capture that feel. You know what I mean?
You mean a fan of like
Oh, me too.
perfect
Hell yes,
Panavision
dude.
cameras and glass shooting on film? Yeah, me too, man.
No, just that
No, I know.
grainier
Yeah.
90s, 80s.
100% know
VHS.
what you mean. I'm just being a dick. Yeah.
The first few times I watched this, my
Did
mom
you get it
had
for
this
as a gift?
on VHS movie. No, she just loved this movie. She was a huge Robin Williams. Owned like everything he released. She would watch this, and what's that movie where he like goes to hell or whatever?
Oh, What Dreams
It's
May
like him,
Come?
Cuba Gooding Jr.'s in it.
God, what an odd one-liner to
What dreams may
describe it.
come?
What's that
Yeah,
movie
What
where
Dreams
he
May
goes
Come.
to
Yeah,
hell?
those are.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Goes to
That's
hell.
kind of what it is, though. Like, it's been a minute since I saw that movie. But those were definitely her two favorites.
Wow.
So those were I saw both of those quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, the performances are fucking top notch. I mean, Nathan Lane and Robin Williams are just bring the same level of energy between them. Like
It feels like
That's
it could
that's
be
pure
live.
chemistry on
Like
screen.
they're so
Which is-
strong that it's like they could do that on stage.
Yeah.
Like it's the acting is thick. That's the word I'm going to use. It's like in the best way, like thick.
Yeah.
Yes, just
It's like
dumb
6
thick.
Cs.
yeah,
Dummy. Like just that bomb.
Dummy
Like yes,
thick.
I agree. Nathan Lane just chewing every scene. Like, oh my God.
Dude, and I wanted to say, like Max said, they both brought the same energy, and how fucking impressive is that coming from Nathan to match
And vice
Robin
versa,
Williams?
trying to
Holy
be the-
shit, bro!
No pun intended, but the straight man
Vice versa.
in that
Yeah.
thing to make all those bits work, but also trying to maintain that
Right.
you're trying to be like, okay, I'm not a stereotypical like masculine man, but I have to be as much of a masculine man as possible to contrast Nathan Lane's character. That's a crazy line to walk, and do it brilliantly and be funny. Like, man, that is just like
Yes.
acting. Like,
Dude, Lane's got so many lines in this movie that are just iconic as hell. When he's yelling at that dancer about his gum. Try more
love
gum.
his paragraphs.
I chew it to help me think. It's a waste of gum.
Yeah, dude, just outstanding.
Speaking of funny lines, I did want to point out a couple more. Keep the goddamn pinky down when he like screams at me.
The struggle that
So
scene
funny.
where he was putting the mustard
Yeah,
on and like the shaking. His pinky, it was like the pinky. That was brilliant. Like just so well done.
That's unbelievable.
It's that whole scene of just Albert just trying to put on any kind of masculinity whatsoever, and Armand's just got to be like, men smear.
What really got me is how you truly believe that they are in love from start to finish in that film. Like, it is like, I can see
Yeah.
Robin Williams in a
Yeah,
million things.
absolutely.
You always know his face, but the minute it started rolling, it was like, it's this couple is so stupid in love. It was, like they're gross in love. Like when you see a couple that's been married for 30 years and you're just like, God, you're the same person. Like, it's like, it was just brilliant. I could not believe the chemistry that these two had. And the scene, oh my God, with the papers, like the pre-alimony. Oh my God. Like, it felt so real.
Yeah.
It felt so
Yeah.
like Robin Williams' words in terms of him letting that out. Like, it's mine, it's yours. Who fucking cares? Like, who lets who stay? Oh, just taking away the entire like power dynamic of the relationship. I was like, this, okay, any issues I may have had with like shallow characters in terms of the writing was blown out the window with scenes like that because someone cared so much. It was just, God, you could just feel whoever that was, like the writing of that was just like, that hit me so hard. It was like, who cares who lets who stay? Oh my God. Yeah. But I thought that was just absolutely brilliant.
Well, that's why I think that's absolutely why it aged so well. Just because it's really about the family.
It's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point, actually. I may have focused in some ways on the aspects that I thought maybe didn't work as well, because the aspects that did work so well hit so hard that I think in contrast, it was like, I don't know, but yeah, that is, yeah.
Dude, and that scene has like one of the funniest quotes as well when he does the John Wayne walk, and then he's like, actually, perfect. I just never realized John Wayne walked like that.
Yeah. He tells it so deadpan.
And he's fucking right. That is what John Wayne looks like when he walks.
It really is.
Like, wait, what the fuck? Yeah, he does look really fucking weird when he walks. And not in a gay way, just fucking weird. He just
that's how he walks. Yeah. I never made the parallel either until I saw that. It's like, oh yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, did anybody talk about the dance scene, by the way?
Which one?
At the end?
At the end where they're all dancing together, like both families. Like, I don't know.
Oh.
That felt so fucking like wholesome to me for whatever reason. I really liked that scene. And they all finished like singing together. I don't know.
Yeah. It felt like it was added for good reason. Yeah. Like someone said, this feels cold, and we need to make sure that.
Well, that's in the original movie too.
It is. That's awesome. It ends.
Yeah, I could talk about the differences and similarities of the play.
Yeah,
yeah, please do.
Heck yeah.
So it's about half an hour shorter, but somehow it's the same plot, follows it beat for beat almost. One thing that's missing is those detectives or press people who are following the conservative family. They're not as prominent. They only really show up at the end. Other than that, it's the same movie, plot for plot. Even some of the jokes are in there. Some of the same exact jokes, same exact dialogue.
Nice.
So I don't know where that half hour comes from. I think it just might be Gene Hackman talking about foliage.
Yeah, that times out about right. It was about 27 minutes. So.
Well, there's like a lot of establishing shots. And,
yeah. They started really far away. Yeah.
Yes, and shout out to those paparazzi actors. By the way, I don't know if you guys are familiar with an absolute 10 of a film called Heavyweights.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Tom McGowan, my boy. Tom McGowan was one of those.
Fuck yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He was the guy with the guy who like paid the guy the first time.
Yes, yep. The guy with the guy and the guy. He had a big fatty wad in his pocket, and he made some plays. But yes, just wanted to say it was delightful to see his face in this.
We gotta do heavyweights for this pod at some point. Fucking great.
Spoiler alert, it's a perfect film.
Perfect film. 10 out of 10. We don't actually, you know what? We don't need to do it because we'll all just be like, yeah, 10 out of 10. Whatever. We don't.
That's all the more reason to do it. Do it again.
Fuck yeah. You know what? I'm convinced again.
Yeah.
It wasn't that hard.
Any other
Similar. Well, yeah. So there's one less Jay Leno cameo in the original.
Oh right.
But they didn't have a Jay Leno cameo. But they do reference John Wayne just like they did, which is I thought was surprising because it's
Really?
French, yeah.
Isn't that interesting? And how long ago and how long it holds up?
Well, here's my theory. John Wayne, rumored crossdresser. He's been a rumored crossdresser for decades. There's
Wow. No reason to believe nor disbelieve that.
I've Googled it. I've
true.
looked into it, and it's pretty much maybe. Who knows? He's been long dead. But either way,
it is confirmed. Maybe.
Yeah. The big thing about John Wayne is that he wasn't a typical masculine guy in his personal life. He was a ballet dancer and an actor.
Yeah.
Fun fact about John Wayne. So I think maybe that's why they used him as a reference.
Well, it's just interesting that it holds up generationally, is meaning audiences then in a different country would know who John Wayne was and find that joke funny. And then audiences in 1996 in America would find that joke.
But they wouldn't do it if they made it today because no one would get that.
You don't think so?
I don't think so, no. Maybe.
I mean, we all understood it. Mike's the only one of us over 55 in here. Like,
I don't get
feel
any
like-
of these movies. I just don't.
they're all shit.
Stop caring.
Too loud.
I'll just stop.
Shaking a fucking cane over there.
Just,
You wonder why I pitch things like Lars von Trier and just French Extreme because I don't care.
Because it was a better time. Oh, okay. Ooh.
Get off my podcast, you damn kids.
Get off my porch cast.
That's a good name.
Before it's too late, I do want to mention that composer Jonathan Tunick brought his fucking A game to like every cut of music I heard in this film.
He got a sequel. He got an opening or a single title credit that was first at the end of the film.
Yeah, right as soon as that wedding shots. Yeah, right.
The first thing you see, like, wow, like fuck the assistant director. First thing, this he gets it.
Crazy.
It was pretty cool to see that.
Two other quick differences. They changed cultural attaché to Greek to cultural attaché to Italy. No idea why. Or they changed it from Greek to Italy.
From
Or
Italy
to Greek. Yeah, you're right.
Were there any jokes written in particular? Maybe some of the beach that that would make the plots work, as far as doing it in Miami or in South Beach.
What do you mean? I don't get it.
Like maybe there was like some Grease / like Miami jokes or fucking South Beach jokes.
No, it takes place in France.
Yes. No, I'm saying you're saying in the original they used like something instead of Greece as the place that he goes to.
Well, no, they say he's a cultural attaché to Italy. That's Armand's job.
Yeah, I'm saying maybe there was jokes written into the modern version that only worked with it being Greek.
Well, I mean, they like had the supposedly Greek boys playing leapfrog on the bowls, but they had that in the original too. A lot of the same jokes. It's pretty crazy. But at the same time, I don't recommend watching it because the remake is superior in every way. Robin Williams, Nathan Lane, Gene Hackman, they're all so much better. It's so much funnier.
Was it a comedy?
It was,
original?
yeah, straight up comedy, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Only watch it if The Birdcage is your number one favorite movie of all time and you just want to see the original. That's the only situation. Yeah.
Google has the 1996 version as a comedy / thriller. And I
know,
like,
so dumb.
it's thrilling to watch, but it's not like,
Fuck.
yeah.
Oh, one other difference. The original ends with a freeze frame of Albert's character who has a different name and Armand's character who has a different name. And Armand is just bickering at the wedding. Like the joke is that he's a bickering guy And then there's a freeze frame, and then he keeps bickering, and then it just fades out. It's kind of stupid.
Wow.
Well, that's
And-
what makes me think that the son is the protagonist, and they had to fucking drill that home.
Oh yeah, I think he has no.
At
The
the
son
end.
has much more of a prominent role in the Birdcage.
Yeah.
They barely used him in the original, and they made 2 sequels. I'm never gonna watch them, but I looked up
What?
the plots. The second one is like a spy movie. Someone plants a microcapsule on Albert, and spies are chasing them through Italy, I think.
What the hell?
What the fuck?
And then in the third one, Albert's great aunt dies and leaves him a lot of money, but on the condition that he impregnates a woman.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
It-
no.
Super terrible reviews for those 2 movies.
Can't imagine.
What?
Yeah.
Were any of the original people? Did any of them come back?
Oh yeah, the same 2 characters who play Armand and Albert are in both of them. And I think it's the same director too, but yeah. I don't know if
Mike
this,
Nichols?
No, for the original.
No, we're talking about the sequels to the
Yeah.
original. The
Okay.
original.
Oh, I was like, what?
Yeah, Robin Williams
Okay.
did not do that. Would he?
Yeah, Robin Williams and Nathan Lane did all 3. So it was a Mike Nichols trilogy, now available on Criterion.
No, the original improved it in every way.
Gotcha.
Or not the original, the remake improved it in every way.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
That's all I got.
Radio. Do we want to rate this beast?
Yeah, go for it.
Let's do it.
With,
I'll go in the same order. Joe.
sure.
Yeah, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I gotta give a point off for Val being such a twerp, so annoying. Takes me out of it just a little bit, even though I understand he's necessary for the plot to move along. But otherwise, I think it's really funny, and I like it a lot. What do you got, Ort?
Yeah, no, this movie's pretty great. I'm gonna go 9 out of 10 as well. Pretty much for the same reason that kid sucks so bad. It's just fucking terrible. You know what? Actually, I'll go 9.5. I'm not even gonna take a whole point off for that, but yeah, no, this movie's great. How about you, Dan?
You know, just on a personal level, especially considering that Mike Nichols has done so many things that I just feel are just outstanding examples of just perfect cinema. I was not as thrilled with this. There was things about it I really liked, but overall, I thought it was about 40 minutes too long. I thought we could have gotten most of the things we got across, without a lot of it. I thought a lot of it felt kind of hacky at parts, and not in terms of hacky direction, but just really laying on thick aspects of the characters and even the side characters that were just already so clear that we just didn't need to see. And yeah, I did like the cinematography a lot. It was a lot of Lubeski, comes out in this, like I said, but overall I got to give it a 6 out of 10. Just on a personal level, loved the characters, wasn't thrilled overall, but definitely enjoyed it.
Fair. Jeff?
Yeah. Yeah, I give this like a 8.5 out of 10, 9 out of 10. I have a good time every time I watch it. It's just a fun time. It's just a good movie. Solid, rounded comedy. Good acting, good performances, good writing, good direction. It's good.
It's just a good old time.
I do like watching this movie, coming back to it, seeing it. I can't remember the last time I actually sat and watched it from beginning to end. But I do also agree with some of the things that Dan mentioned. I mean, it could a lot of the things that have already been established just keep pressing the same button, and it's just sometimes it's very, the situation is so incredible, and the fact that everything's being pushed along by Val's character just doesn't push it. Doesn't leave a fulfilling feeling like it could, I guess. But still, the performances are top notch. Like, everybody's bringing their game. They had great dance performers, and the production set, the set production is amazing. So I'm landing on 7 and 7.5. 7.5 out of 10. Just because of
7.5.
just because it could have been trimmed down, and but other than that, all the good points that people have brought to this film were quite agreeable. So,
And I gotta say, if they made this movie today, the one thing they'd probably get rid of is that old stereotype that homosexuals cannot wear shoes at all. They're like dogs with
Was
booties
that
on
a
them.
thing? I
They're
couldn't.
like-
Was that Hank Azaria's reason that he couldn't fucking wear shoes?
That was in the original too. And
What?
I no, it's not a stereotype. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I was like, how?
Holy
Okay.
shit.
They're
I
just
am
being
learning.
ridiculous because, yeah.
I could not figure out. Like, I think, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the film, but if you look at his shoes, they're like 19 sizes too big, and that might be why he can't walk in them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the issue. That's
It
the
was
issue.
odd.
Definitely saw that.
Yeah, very odd.
it was nice to see the scene where, I think it's Val that says, "Can you put on something that's a little more straight looking?" And then come back to him painting the room, and he's got a tank top on that says
Oh,
straight
yeah.
looking.
Straight looking.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Oh, man,
became
love it.
his cover shot.
Yeah.
You guys look at the fucking any of like the poster or promotional materials. It's like that was his, quote iconic, straight looking. Hello, like
That's
yeah.
funny.
Yeah, so anyways, guys, that was really funny and good. I'm glad that we could talk about all of that stuff. As far as my movie that I'm gonna pick this time, here's the thing, guys. I really want to do Kill Bill 1 and 2, but you gotta watch both.
Oh,
And if you guys don't want to watch
Dude.
2 movies, I understand, and I'll pick something else.
I'm down with it. I'm 100% down with it.
But who here hasn't seen Kill Bill?
Absolutely, right?
Right?
I've seen 30 minutes of the first one and couldn't keep going. But yes,
Oh.
Ah.
Ooh, now I kind of really want to do it.
I mean you certainly can. Getting me to sit through 2 Quentin Tarantino films may be a struggle, but
Ooh.
we will see if I
Okay,
can stomach it.
Maybe we'll hold off on that one for a little bit, okay?
I mean, this is your pick, brother. I mean, I'm here
Yeah.
for it, so don't
Right,
base
but
it on me.
Oh, it
Yeah.
really was predicated on everybody being cool with watching 2 movies. And if you already kind of hate the first one, I don't want to make you watch 2 of that. So
Sure, it might. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's totally up to you. I don't have to like it for you to pick it, so it's your thing. I mean, yeah.
all right, well, instead of that fun romp in the park, we're gonna go with the Kingsman, like the OG one.
The Kingsman.
That's an interesting choice because I feel like I'm not going to like it, but I want to see it at the same time. So I want to know.
I don't think you're going to like it either, to be honest, but I definitely think you should see it, yeah.
What is
Same to both.
Kingsman?
It's
It's
like
like-
a 2015 action kind of spy movie, I think, something like that. 2016, I don't know, somewhere
And
around
this,
there.
this is the series that's sort of like a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen or like the Avengers of like the 20s, right?
I'm familiar with the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, the
This
Sean
is more
Connery's
like-
vehicle.
This is more like just some spies. I
It's
think.
but it's like a
Okay.
superhero team of
No.
real characters,
Kind-
right?
It's,
Not
yeah.
superhero, Like a big squad. And
Yeah, I feel
Okay.
like if you suddenly threw James Bond into the Hellboy group, that's like without any actual supernatural or hellish things happening. It's just somehow I'm throwing them into that kind of a group assortment of characters.
and
Okay.
like Rasputin is a character, Adolf Hitler is a character.
What?
Spoiler alert.
What?
Okay.
I don't think we're talking about the same movie, my guy.
It's in one of the sequels.
in
I-
the
Oh, yeah.
universe of Kingsman, yeah.
yeah.
The sequels.
I didn't even know.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't even know there were sequels. I just really liked the first movie. I thought it was just a good spy action movie.
I wanna see
Interesting.
it.
Okay. Kingsman. All
Yeah.
right.
Kingsman: The Secret Service. That's like the full name, I guess.
Thank you for not making me watch 2 Quentin Tarantino films.